In this week's video fishing forecast for New England, we got an update on the missing acoustic receiver used to track shark movements off the New England coast, some big striped bass in the Cape Cod surf, trout stocking updates in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut, blackfish to nearly 20 pounds landed in Rhode Island, the big tog opener this weekend in Connecticut, and much, much more. Let's check it out.
The fishing news is sponsored by these fine partners.
Hey there, Toby Lapinski for the New England edition of the Fisherman magazine with this week's web video fishing forecast for New England. I'm going to start off first this week, letting you know, last week I got this email from the Rhode Island DEM as well as the Atlantic Shark Institute. And they were passing around word that an acoustic receiver being used to track shark movements off the Rhode Island coast had broken loose from its mooring. They were obviously trying to track it down, so we posted the story on our Facebook and Instagram pages, and lo and behold, one of our subscribers sent us a tip which we relayed to the Atlantic Shark Institute, and as it turned out, this was the receiver in question, and it had washed up on a beach, of all places, on East Hampton out in Long Island. The receiver contains data on acoustic detections of marine species and is part of the organization's long-term study on sharks in Rhode Island waters. I'd like to send a sincere thank you to everyone who shared the Facebook page, passed along word, and ultimately helped to track down this very important piece of equipment. So again, thank you very much. All right. I guess actually speaking of Instagram and Facebook, this is probably as good a time as any to remind you that if you haven't done so already, be sure that you're following us on Facebook and on Instagram. The Fisherman magazine, that is. For Facebook, you can find us at The Fisherman Magazine, all one word. And on Instagram, it is called The Fisherman Mag. Of course, just general search should find both of us. We, of course, post daily content, including breaking news, regulation updates, links to important posts on the website. Notice when the magazine has been posted, when it's live on the website, and much, much more. And also, if you're so inclined, if you're on either of those social media platforms, I am as well. On Instagram, you can find me at TLapinski33, and over on Facebook, it's just my name, Toby Lapinski. So be sure to hit me up there. You can send along videos, fishing reports, photos, and what have you. And of course, I'd love to feature you from there in the weekly videos right here on YouTube. All right, jumping into the reports. This has been a really good year surf fishing in some of my old stomping grounds up on Cape Cod. While I unfortunately haven't been able to get up there myself yet this season, I'm hoping to do so very soon, as I spent a lot of time in years past fishing on the Cape. Love fishing those back beaches, head of the meadow, Ballston. I landed my biggest striped bass with a surf ever up at Ballston, Newcomb Hollow, that whole stretch all the way on down to Nauset. I love those waters. And in this week's surf report, which came to us from the Goose Hummock Shop, they said that the outer beaches have been getting up great catches recently. Nauset has been the popular spot, but all the beaches from Nauset all the way to Head of the Meadow have been producing fish. The most exciting news right now is the size of the fish. It's not just schoolies, as most of the fish are between 25 and 35 inches, but bass to 47 inches have been reported. And as for lures, spoke to fisherman contributor Jerry Adet as he made a couple of runs up to the Cape last week, and he said he did well on the slender offerings, needlefish, plastic swimmers, SP minnows, as you would expect, but he also did really well on Sibyl stick shads and super strike darters, which makes sense as they have had adult bunker on the beaches up there for quite some time. So well worth the trip up to the Cape right now. And also in Massachusetts, Division of Fisheries and Wildlife is hard at work with its annual fall trout stocking, and they plan to stock more than 60,000 rainbows and browns in select water bodies across the state this fall. Now you can get daily updates posted online at mass.gov/trout to stay on top of the most recent info and get in on the fishing. And then next up, we got a video from TJ Kopecki as he talks about all the action taking place in the East Bay right now. Take it away, TJ.
Thanks, Toby. Hey guys, nice to be back again, reporting for you a little bit on the East Bay, Mount Hope Bay. I'm going to say togging, if you're out there blackfishing, it's pretty much been totally excellent fishing. Most people using crabs. Talked to Manny at Lucky Bait. He says he's selling out of crabs every single weekend. So if you can get there earlier in the weekend to get them, if you're going to do some tog fishing in the upcoming weekend, get there early. Still some scup being caught off the shores of Roger Williams College. We're catching them in the boat still. Black sea bass, tons of them mixed in. They're up in the shallower waters now, feeding on all that bait fish that we have. I had a chance to get out on Breton Reef again this weekend. I did really well with Tog. We caught a lot of sea bass. I did get my first albie finally. We were just pretty much spot locked on the Mid Coda and fishing for Tog. And a school just pretty much popped up all around us. And then after that, they were just pretty much everywhere all around the boat for about an hour and a half, popping up, popping down. We were able to connect with a few fish. It's a good feeling just to get them finally. Lots of schoolies and bluefish up in Narragansett Bay, Mount Hope Bay, up towards Swansea, Twisted Point. I was able to fish around there and connected with a lot of bigger bluefish. There were some bigger schoolies mixed in with those bluefish. If you're on boat, didn't see any people with some shore opportunities to get to those fish because they were really out in the middle, out near Spar Island. I've heard some reports of some trout being stocked in some Rhode Island waters. And Toby, I'm not sure if you're going to elaborate on this or not, but if you go to the Rhode Island Division of Wildlife's either social media page or their website, there's a list of ponds that they're stocking. Some of them that are on the list might not be stocked due to some bacteria levels and lower levels in water, but there is a stocking going on. And I also got word that there is some stocking going on in Western Massachusetts with trout. So if you live out in that area or you like to fish that area and you want to get your fly rod out or some, use some spinners to catch some trout, get out there and fish. There's a lot of opportunities coming up to get out there. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks a lot. Yes, as TJ noted, the Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management has begun its stocking for the season. They started this Tuesday, October 6th. Now, they currently only have 8 of the more popular and accessible lakes and ponds on the stocking list at this time. This is due to water levels at a lot of the locations being a bit low. They'll be reassessing this as the season progresses. And they also are having problems with cyanobacteria algae alerts. So a lot of the places you might expect to receive fish in the fall are not on the list at this time, but again, they plan to continue to evaluate this and expand upon the list when conditions improve. Daily trout stocking updates will be available every afternoon on the Rhode Island Division of Fish and Wildlife Outdoor Education Facebook page, as well as by calling the department at 401-789-0281. Next up, we got another video contributor, this time around from Dave Bocaz. He's got updates on the fishing in Rhode Island, as well as some info on the trout fishing in Massachusetts.
Thank you, Toby. Coming at you from the All In again, my buddy's boat, where we've been up. What time did we wake up today?
6 a.m.
Been up since 6 a.m. It's 3 o'clock right now. We've been fishing all day. What do we see right off the beach?
Birds and fish everywhere.
Birds and fish everywhere. All day, still going off. Tons of fish right on shore, slightly offshore, bass, false albacore in the mix. We got a monster. How much was that one? How much one weigh that you caught?
8.9 pounds.
That's right, 8.9 pounds. False albacore. Thing was an absolute monster. Then we went out in the afternoon again. I caught my first tog. Did you have fun togging? She sure did. She caught a ton of, what's your favorite fish?
Porgy.
Porgy. Stacking the porgy. We ended up with 4 keeper tog in the boat, 2 for my buddy's wife. She gets high hook in the tog category today. I caught my first one ever. Man, Toby, I'm telling you, it is going off right now, all day. The craziest fall fishing I've seen ever. And if you're not in it, then you're missing out. Also, just a little side note, fall stocking is on. Yesterday, I was in Western Mass at Big Elm. Me and 6 of my buddies went out there. We all got rainbows and had a cookout. Like I'm telling you before, Toby, lots of fun to be had in the fall. Back at you.
Thanks again, Dave. As he noted, tog fishing is picking up in Rhode Island. And, honestly, I've been telling you for a couple of weeks now, don't snooze on the early tog action, as some really big white chinners are always taken from those shallow waters early in the fall run. This weekend, we had just one of those fish to prove the point, as angler Darius Diaz Boragine, landed a 19.98 pound blackfish this weekend. It was caught on Saturday. The big fish was weighed in at Quaker Lane Bait and Tackle in North Kingstown, and it was just shy of a pound under the current Rhode Island state record, which is a massive 21 pound, 4 ounce blackfish caught way back in 1954. It just goes to show you, again, big fish early on in the season, as well as just some big fish in local waters. Congrats on that awesome catch. Hopefully I'll tangle with a fish like that myself this fall. All right, heading on down into Connecticut. I'm going to start off with a little bit of sad news. I got word this week that longtime friend of the Fisherman magazine, the My Joy, will no longer be sailing. The My Joy, has been a staple in Connecticut party boat fleet for many, many years. And it was actually the first big boat that I ever fished off some 35 years ago. I did a bluefish trip with my father and grandfather. We were out jigging and fishing the drails and herring out in the race. And as much as it was a tough trip, being 5 years old, cranking up some massive bluefish, it's a memory that I will forever hold with me. So we wish the best to the entire My Joy family as they go forward. And word is that the boat will be finding a second life down in Florida. And while moving on onto a positive note, this weekend marks the opener of blackfish season in Connecticut on Saturday, October 10th. While the weather is a bit nautical and windy, so to speak, right now, if you can find a little secluded, tucked away spot, whether it's from shore, kayak, or by boat, you are certain to get onto some good fish, as these blackfish have not been hassled in local water for some 6-8 weeks now. So they are fresh. They are on the feed, and as I just showed you in Rhode Island, there are some big fish to be had in the early season. And while the My Joy is no longer sailing, we still got several party boats heading out of, for instance, the Niantic River, including our good friends at the Sunbeam and the Blackhawk. Now, word is both of these boats have been doing really well on mixed bottom fish lately: cod, sea bass, porgies. They've been doing some striped bass and some bluefish at times, but of course they're going to be adding blackfish into the mix as soon as things calm down enough to get on those local rock piles. And if you recall, a couple of years ago, the Connecticut state record blackfish was landed on the Sunbeam. So the party boats are a great option if you want to get out on a fall tog bite. And then last up, trout stocking in the lakes and ponds of Connecticut is moving right along. Unfortunately, though, the rivers and streams, due to the increased water temperatures and the low flow levels, those rivers and streams are not being stocked right now. For the time being, it's just the larger lakes and ponds across the state that are receiving fish. You can get daily stocking reports posted on the Connecticut Fish and Wildlife Facebook page, as well as checking online with the interactive trout stocking map, which is something that I regularly check out as I am trout fishing throughout the season. All right, well, that's it for this week. I'm Toby Lapinski for the New England edition of the Fisherman magazine, reminding you that if I didn't get to your local area, your species of choice, of course, you can always get the most comprehensive fishing reports from New England through the Mid-Atlantic at thefisherman.com.
Steigercraft boats, built by people who fish our waters. Serious anglers choose Steigercraft for their 40 years of boat building experience right here in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic. Visit steigercraft.com for a dealer near you.